Hey, I'm April with Blushing Phoenix, and I help people move through their redness and into living their best life. Today, I'm gonna share with you 5 things I learned from being stuck on an elevator. Yes, you heard me correctly. Yours truly was stuck on an elevator for like 2 minutes, but still, I didn't know that when I got stuck. So if you are interested in hearing about these 5 things I learned and how I'm pretty sure that you're gonna be able to relate to them and hear my great dramatic story about being stuck on an elevator, then stick around. I got stuck in an elevator, and I want to share with you 5 things I learned while I was stuck in that elevator, or after I had time to process the fact that I got stuck in an elevator. I think that these 5 things that I learned are very symbolic and relatable to those of you who deal with erythrophobia and chronic blushing and flushing. So I was headed into the office, get on the elevator, push the button number 2 because I'm on the 2nd floor, and I'm on the phone with my husband, and we are going up the elevator shaft. We, meaning me, I was there alone, going up the elevator shaft. All of a sudden, the elevator just like drops a little bit and like catches itself, and I'm like, that is not a feeling that you're supposed to feel on an elevator. And this is like a new elevator, by the way. And then the number at the top that's counting the floors, and all the buttons just go dark. No light. I'm like on the phone with my husband like, I think I'm stuck in the elevator. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm stuck in the elevator. Let me call you back. Hang up. Immediately, I start to feel in my body the physical sensations of panic. And you know how like the blood is leaving your extremities, it's going into fight or flight. You're going to send all the blood to your major organs so that you can survive. I feel all this happening in my body. This is subconscious or unconscious or whatever the word is for it. I feel my breath getting shallow. Everything's tingly. I feel everything getting warm and hot and tingly and pins and needles and all the feelings that you get when you feel like you're about to start having a panic attack. And I can feel in my mind, like catastrophic moment. Like, what if I die in here? What if I can't breathe in here? What if they never find me here? Like all of that like crazy irrational stuff that just starts to come at you, doom and gloom. And it was like something just switched. Something just turned that off. Well, didn't actually turn it off. All the feelings, all the sensations kept happening, but it's like something else in me took over and was like, action, let's do something about this. And immediately, it's like I could think clearly enough to push the call button, talk to the operator on the other side. Now, I will say she did ask me what was the address I was at, and my brain was very blank on that, but I was looking for my phone because I had AirPods in my ear, so I was actually trying to find my phone and figure out like, where's my phone so I can look at the address at where I'm at, because all of that information just went blank. And then I'm like on the ground on my knees because I have bags, and I'm digging through the bags, and all of a sudden it's like the elevator comes back alive, and I start moving. So I'm telling the operator, oh, everything's back on, I'm moving back down. I'm so grateful to be moving back down the shaft. And all of a sudden the door opens, and there's this guy standing out there. It's a guy that actually works in the building with me, and I'm on the ground. So he's looking at me like, and I like desperately look up at him, and I'm like, I would not get on this elevator if I were you. I just got stuck in it. So he's like, oh, really? So I'm like, I would suggest you take the stairs. So I grab all my things and we go to the stairs. I was gonna say we ran up the stairs. We were moving kind of quickly, but we get to the top of the stairs to the 2nd floor. We can't open the door because the door is locked. So we have to decide, do we want to bang on the door, call the front office for somebody to let us in that back door, or are we gonna go get on the other elevator, because there's 2, and go up together? So I told him, I said, we could brave the elevator together, and this way, if we do get stuck in there, at least I'm not in there alone this time. And so we get on the 2nd elevator, we push the button, he's like, here we go. I'm like, here we go. And we push number 2, head up, and no problems. Everything was seamless. We get off the elevator, everything's fine. And so as I was reflecting back on, wow, I got stuck in an elevator, it was really for just a brief couple of minutes, but it was enough for me to feel all the discomfort, all the uneasiness of what it would feel like to be stuck in the elevator. And so here are 5 things I learned from that experience. Number 1, I have power over my thoughts. I might not be able to control where the thoughts come from and when the thoughts come sometimes, but we absolutely have power over our thoughts. We can get them under control. We can move with those thoughts. We can work with those thoughts. We don't have to judge them. This is a stupid idea. Why are you thinking this? Quit thinking this way. We can actually just move with them. In cognitive behavioral therapy, we go through a lot of what is the worst that's going to happen. So if we follow that fearful thought all the way through to the worst thing that's going to happen, it allows some of the vastness of the scariness of the fearfulness around it to come down a little bit. Because as we chase a thought down, we often realize it's actually not as big and bad as we think it is or that it feels on the inside. The second thing I learned, there's an action item. We may not have control of the circumstances in the moment, but there is something that we can control. And in this case, for me, it was an action. What do I do next? What am I capable of controlling in this moment? And for me, it was a practical push the call button. Because I think sometimes in our franticness, we can actually lose sight of the very simple things like pushing a call button. I had my phone with me. I could text someone. I could FaceTime someone. I had great service in that elevator. There were different things I could do. Sit down and take a moment to myself. Live stream on social media, whatever. But there were actions that I could take to get myself unstuck from the situation, or at least get someone to help me. Number 3. This speaks to the importance of reframing. You know, you could be in a situation like that, being stuck in an elevator, and be like, why is this happening to me? Of course this is happening to me. I'm running late, blah, blah, blah. All the different things of why are the bad things happening to me? But in my case, the reframing was, what an experience. I'm safe. Yes, it's a bit of an inconvenience, but what an experience that now not only did I get to post a couple of things on social media about it, but I'm actually getting to do a video to talk to you about the 5 things that I learned from being stuck in an elevator. So it's created an opportunity for me. It also put me in a place of discomfort so that I could see, how do I react in discomfort? A lot of us are not running towards discomfort because it's the last thing we want to do, because who wants to do that? But sometimes when we're forced into those moments of discomfort, we get to, number 1, see how we react, but also we get to practice some of the things that we're taught or we read about or we've learned over time or that we teach others, and therefore reframing the opportunity from why is this happening to me to what an interesting opportunity that I'm getting to have and observe and be part of. And that's something that we absolutely have control over, that reframing and that switching. And it takes some practice, but it truly is a way to not control the outside world, but to get a hold and control that inside world and make the experience what you want it to be. Number 4, I can trust myself. You can trust yourself. In those moments that I realize like I'm stuck here and there's a little bit of a panicky moment that's about to hit me, I realize that, wow, looking back on that and reflecting back, I can trust myself to do what I need to do to get myself out of situations, to take care of myself in the situation. There are a lot of things I think that we're not capable of sometimes, but you are capable and we can trust ourselves. I mean, technically, I still needed help from the outside, but I could do things in the moment to help myself. I can trust me. And I think that's why for me, getting on another elevator, I'm not scared of that, because I know I've been in a situation that's scary and I was with me and I can trust me. Plus those call buttons really do help. And number 5, face the fear again. You may have heard some really great sayings that are like, feel the fear and do it anyway. And that is part of an exposure for me that not only did I get off of an elevator that had just broken down on me and I was stuck on for a minute, I tried to take the stairs because I'm like, I'm not getting on another elevator. And literally within like a minute or so, I was getting on another elevator. So I was in the environment that had just caused the harm to me, the fear for me. And now I'm getting back in the same environment, putting myself back in that space with another person, which was great. I actually told him on the way back up that I am a CBT practitioner and we are actually doing therapy right now. And he's like, oh, so I'm assisting in your therapy. I was like, absolutely, because you're here with me. And so I'm not doing it alone, which is nice, but I'm also putting myself right back in the same situation that is really scary from a situation I just went through. So the quicker we can get into those exposures and face those fears again and put ourselves in the environment again, and guess what? The elevator didn't break down again. Now, I would have definitely had a story if it did, but the elevator did not break down again, and most likely it's not going to break down again when I get back on it. But if it does, I can trust myself and the crew to show up and help me. Also, side note, you know what was really interesting is that I did not flush one time, even, being in the middle of the uncertainty of it all, talking to the stranger that was down on the first floor, I didn't flush in any of that. And I was kind of going back and thinking about that, and I thought, well, maybe it's because, yes, it was an uncertain situation that made me feel all those feelings that I would normally feel with flushing, but I was in control of it. I just felt like I sprung into action. Maybe it's more of the, I got to get myself out of here and I'm the one that's in control of it, and it wasn't in the hands of someone else. Obviously, it was in the hands of somebody else to actually help me, but it wasn't in the sense of like a judgment or the things that I'm tied to when it comes to my work and my boss and those types of things. It was like a real life event that I'm like physically stuck in an elevator, which is a little different than that psychological stuck with a boss or judgment of a boss or all the things with authority. There you have it. Those are 5 things that I learned from being stuck in an elevator. Hey, have you ever been stuck in an elevator before, or in any kind of enclosed space? Tell me about it in the comments below. I'm curious to hear about your experience. Also, were any of these tips helpful for you? Obviously, I'm sharing them as my tips, but they're your tips as well. They're things that you need to know about yourself. Us as humans in general. If you find these videos helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll see you in my next video.